Hello, and welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser, and today I am a pre-cruise cruise boy. Yep, we're getting ready for our cruise. Even Trevor's excited. You got to get Trevor does not get that excited about travel.
Oh no, an iceberg. in the
Caribbean.
Yeah. Hi there. I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super tip. I am also an excited cruise boy. Although I will say, last night I had
You have cruise nightmares?
not cruise nightmares, just like travel stress dreams.
Oh, of course you did.
No. And even there's a point where I woke up from a dream, but I was still dreaming, and I was on the cruise in the dream, and I was stressed out, and then I just opened my eyes and oh wait, no, I'm at home.
That sounds exhausting.
It was very exhausting.
Trevor has a really great technique of pre-worrying.
Oh, worrying about being worried.
Yes.
Got to build up those stomach muscles so you can be nice and
Clutch.
yeah.
Well, hi, my name is Michael. I am a chaser, and I suppose at this point in my life, I am either a stressed out pre-move boy or a very confident, relaxed pre-move boy. I suppose we'll find out. Do we care if people know that we're recording this way in advance?
No, it's fine. I mean,
we're recording this way in advance.
The episode we record after that will explain this.
So yeah, moving in about 2 weeks. So watch out for that, I suppose.
Hi, my name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood, and today I am a sleepy, wide awake boy. I'm working off of, I don't know how many hours of sleep, like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. But 3 or 4 hours is the sweet spot. Michael has seen me in my giddy zones.
That's peak podcasting form.
Yeah, so allow me to state in advance, the Big Fat Gay Podcast does not support any of the weird opinions falling out of Don's mouth today. Don, in fact, himself does not support any of the weird opinions falling out of his mouth today, because Don has absolutely no idea where his mouth will wander to today.
Wake up, Don. Wake up. It's time to the show.
There's tea. Caffeine, life is good.
As we explained last week, we are January's a busy month for us. We got some travel, we got some moving, some big life changes,
All kinds of stuff.
So weekends.
We're stockpiling.
Yes. So
Because we care about you. We don't want to leave you alone for so long.
That's right.
Yes.
Also, we're beholden to a Patreon.
That's true.
They know where we live.
Speaking of which, they thank you, patrons. Thank you.
Yeah.
You make our world bright and shiny. We have a minisode coming up. Dan and I recorded a little minisode for Patreon about something.
See, Trevor always gets on my case. What did you guys talk about? I'm like, I have no
I don't
idea.
know. We talked. Chaser Chat, volume 3?
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
Yeah. If we could remember that, we'd remember what we talked about.
Yeah. Anyway, there were drinks involved. It's very good. It's going to get cut down because it's quite long.
Oh, but every word is a pearl, Michael. Pearls.
Yes. So if you want to check that out and any other minisodes that we've done, head over to patreon.com/bigfatgaypod and you can see them all, along with behind-the-scenes videos and stuff that I cut from the show that might be funny or interesting, or it might not be. I suppose you guys can tell us.
Michael thinks very highly of our edited vids.
Well, trust me, there's a lot that gets cut that does not end up in the cutting room floor.
There's comedy gold, comedy fool's gold, and
Yeah.
then there's
just
Comedy crap.
comedy spelled with a Q.
I think the cutting room floor needs to be its own little Patreon.
that's just throat clearing and sneezing.
a little mini Patreon called Cutting.
Yeah, that's the glottal stuff goes on our OnlyFans page.
Oh God. Oh jeez, there's so much of it. Anyway, so
hit that
thank
button.
you. Yeah, let's get into some pop culture, baby.
A little Liza Minnelli. I actually
Just hit the light switch, Eliza. I can't find out. No,
I saw
SNL. Okay.
a great shit.
Somebody died laughing listening to that. I didn't even know which listener. Anyway, keep going.
I saw a great little bit of It was an old clip from the Paula Deen show where Liza Minnelli was on.
Oh dear.
And it was just them kind of dancing, and Paula Deen like, I got another surprise for you. And then that's the
cuts
clip.
out.
I'm sorry, what? Did they fuck? What happened?
No, it's. I think Paula
If they
Deen
did, Paula Deen would still be on the air.
Paula Deen is desperately trying to segue, and Liza is high on something and just decides to start dancing. You know,
I see.
And I have another surprise for you. Like, can I get you back on task? Because we were doing a cooking show. I don't know if they told you.
And then it didn't work, and so they just had to cut there.
We don't know because the clip ends.
Yeah.
The show doesn't end.
Anyway, cutting room floor. Not cutting room floor. I mean, I guess now. God
There's
damn it.
we have a show.
Yes.
And on that show, we're going to talk about an interview with is it Jena or Jena Schmeiding? Do we know? Jena Schmeiding? Jena. Jana. You guys figure it out.
I'm going to go with Jana.
I'm going
Jena
to Jena.
She
Go off in my own direction.
did an interview with Carolyn Malcoon for Eating Well. And if you don't know, she is a plus-size Native American actress, writer.
You probably know
comedian.
her from Rutherford Falls. She was
Yeah.
the co-star in Rutherford Falls.
Star? Co-star? Anyway, yeah, one of the leads. And it's also her show. Like,
Yes,
it's her
that's very
big-
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's her big dream project. And so this interview is a lot about like her relationship to her body, her size, and her perspectives on wellness culture.
Well, and it's Eating Well magazine. So, of course, the questions are about what do you eat?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it may be the one magazine where it's appropriate to be asking fat people what they eat.
Right. And she agreed to the interview. So it's not like, what?
Why
How dare you?
I have to say, I was surprised. When I saw Eating Well, I was nervous. But I also know, I'm like, well, Jena Schmeiding is not going to like be part of something really horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking and like, I feel like Eating Well is, I don't know, evolving.
Well, their
Well, they
first
have to.
yeah, I would hope so. Their first question, which I suppose figures, is what do you typically eat in a day? And I kind of love that she doesn't go into here are the things that I like. Here is my rigorous, like I have 3 grams of granola inside of a half cup of yogurt for the breakfast. Like she doesn't do that. She goes for, which I appreciate, like I love having variety. Like I love going for savory and sweet and running the spectrum. I don't tend to eat breakfast. And so here's what I do. And I don't know. She describes her attitude towards eating more than like, oh, I'll eat half a chicken breast, for dinner so that I don't.
Well,
whatever.
but that's because the people who are doing that have this very regimented plan, usually to look a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, but she's like, I'm not a breakfast girl, but she talks about, she has a really sweet, creamy vanilla latte, which I don't know, for my money, that's breakfast. Because there's enough
that was
power in that
basically
to be a
my
meal.
breakfast today. Hello, Pete's.
Yeah. No, she talks about making it with half and half, and it's really sweet and creamy, and she loves the texture of it. And
That's me. That's my It's my morning coffee, my little.
No, that's just you.
you are a sweet vanilla latte.
No, I mean,
Sweet and creamy.
And ironically, they still can't spell your name correctly on the side of you.
yeah.
One of my favorite moments in this was when the interviewer asks her, what do you wish you could tell your younger self about body image?
I loved this.
So her response was really insightful, which is like, I would never put that responsibility on a child to have to manage their, the body image and the assault on their body that is going to come from them from the public. And she says it's on the corporations and the industry of diet to make the changes. It's not on the individual.
Well, she does. It's not. I don't think it's quite that black and white for her. What she says is that it's not. The question assumes that one is completely responsible for one's body image. And she says, like, there's a whole lot of influence on one's body image that starts before you're even aware you have a body. And yeah, she does include corporations and this idea that we're trying to sell stuff to people and that, she talks about television being an advertising medium and what they're responsible for. But yeah, and it's true because, there's only so far this so-called body positivity will take you because ultimately you live in a world that has an opinion about your body. And she says most of the world doesn't even believe in body positivity.
Yeah.
Which
They
is-
kind of believe the opposite.
well, they believe body positivity is you should take responsibility and get thin. That for a lot of people, that's body positivity. You should be positive about your wanting to make changes about your body.
So yeah, it's an insightful article. Check it out. Interview, I should say. She loves curry. If you want to hear
She
a really
really
great
loves curry.
description of what curry can do for a person, check it out.
I have really only had like yellow curry.
Really?
And I don't know. I'm scared to go outside of that because I don't know. The worst case scenario is I don't like it and then I don't eat it.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
I don't know.
The fun thing
It's a-
with
it's a lot
curry
of
though is
pressure.
everybody, when you have dinner with a bunch of people, everybody orders something. You can try everybody's stuff.
I don't know. My experience of yellow curry.
What, you want to
is
lose
that,
a hand? Don't do that with Trevor.
Well, because so my experience of yellow curry is that it's like 2 pieces of chicken.
Oh, yeah.
One of the big problems I run into with Indian food is when I spill it on a child that's eating with me and I stain their clothing. If they're plus size, replacing that clothing can be very, very
He's working so hard
Yeah.
to keep us on track.
How's that for a segue?
I thought you were going to be the one who was too out of it today. You're the only one who's actually on topic. Yes, so our second pop culture story today is why don't brands care about plus size kids? Coming from Virginia Soul Smith in, it's her blog, Burnt Toast.
I really love this article.
Yeah, this brought up a lot for me that I had kind of like, I don't know, locked away. And it's not all bad. It's just kind of, I don't know, a lot of neutral memories of like, this is weird to be revisiting this.
I'm curious, Trevor. So, like, when I was a kid, there was no big and tall section for children, but there was in some stores a husky section.
That's right, husky.
So one of the things that unlocked is I being with my mom at like, I don't know, a Gap or something. And her like asking like, oh, is there like a husky boy section? And like, there wasn't.
Yeah.
Awkward.
And she said, yeah. it's next
So
to the
how did
sledding
she get
section.
you? How did she succeed in getting you clothing?
Well, so
She didn't. He ran around naked as a
Yeah.
kid.
That's
No,
how
so
we
I
met.
guess going into the article, Virginia's talking about the dearth of plus size clothing for kids, even though there's all this talk of, the childhood obesity epidemic. And
Right.
that like you would think that there would be more options and how plus size clothing is booming, but that doesn't translate to children's clothing.
And there's a lot of very real perspectives on like these are the reasons why major clothing brands, well, any clothing brands, don't create a lot of plus size options, which is like here are the very real reasons why they don't see it as profitable.
I found that really enlightening because it's not just, and it's true. It's not just that, oh, we don't want to be known for fat people clothing. And it's
Right.
not just that, it's it's inconvenient. Like, how do you do the retailers want to put it away on a separate floor or something like that. But yeah, there are some, given that it's a 3-year cycle from start to getting something in the store. And I thought this was really amazing that the companies, when they start creating a piece of clothing, they start with biometric data. Like they subscribe to a company that collects
ASTM.
Yeah, they collect biometric data, but there is no biometric data on fat kids.
Right.
Or very little.
Yeah,
and then
very
and then
little.
how do you design for that? And then the variability of like, well, they're this size in height, but they're this size. And there's something that the article doesn't bring up that I thought was interesting too, is that remember, you're buying clothes for kids, which means it's not just that they may gain or lose weight, but they will inevitably outgrow this.
Very quickly.
This is not a garment that you could spend a lot of money on because you'll have it for years.
Right.
No, you will have it for a year.
6 months, a year.
Yeah. So, it's got to be at a reasonable price point because you're going to have to replace it because the kid's going to grow taller.
If you think about how many clothes like you have to replace for your kid as they grow up, it's amazing we don't just swaddle them in togas every day and just.
Moo-moos.
Well, that
Child
hand-me-downs. You wear your brother's clothes, you wear your
see,
sister's clothes. Yeah.
So that's what I did. And there was a lot of that because
Togas?
No, I went to Catholic school, so we had a lot of uniforms. So my siblings and I basically wore the same thing. And, both my brother and sister, my sister went through kind of like a period where she was fat as a kid and then she lost weight. And my brother was fat too. So like, I just kind of would get his old uniform shirts and pants kind of. And then also to just make it even weirder,
His
there was
underwear?
a point where like we just all me, my mom and brother kind of all had a pool of khakis that we drew
weird.
through. And
At the
so-
same time?
well, I think it was like my mom, her weight fluctuated a lot when I was a kid. So I think there's points where like she just had her like normal like I don't know, her thin clothes, but then I think she would be, you know, I was thinking of 30 Rock during the, you know, the husky, she'd wear the husky boy pants.
Oh.
Or there's a joke in 30 Rock where Liz is wearing her blazer is from a husky boy's.
Yeah, it's like
clothes like Robusto Rabunzi or something. But I don't think there was much of a like husky boys clothing thing when I was a kid. I would end up wearing, you know, like adult, like, you know, men's clothing that would just be like the sleeves would be too long and stuff, which I didn't really think about until I was reading this article, because she writes about the woman who has the daughter where juniors or women's clothes aren't cut right for her body, where either stuff is too long or cut too low.
Well, and the thing is, you know, so speaking from personal experience as a child, there is body diversity in children, right? Like I was a top-heavy fat child. Like I had a very big chest and sort of upper body. And the thing I was most self-conscious about in my clothing was my chest pressing against my clothing and sort of exposing my boobs and my nipples to the world always. And I think that's what transitioned me to my, you know, t-shirt and overshirt look, was because I got so used to not finding anything that made me feel comfortable that just became my default. And now that I live in a world where I can access that, the world is sort of set up to keep giving me that outfit because I think an entire generation grew up like
Well,
that.
and it's genius, right? Because basically the fashion of the t-shirt with the overshirt means that you can wear two pieces of clothing that don't fit you and make it work.
Yeah.
Because the t-shirt may not go all the way down, but that's okay. That's why you have an overshirt. And the t-shirt's going to be tight across the chest, but you have the overshirt. And the overshirt is like, it's kind of, the overshirt's too big for you. So
I was not aware. I guess I thought, oh, well, there's more women's plus clothing, so there must be more clothing for fat girls, like especially because there's a whole like Miss and juniors, and there's all these different things. I just assumed that like, oh, well, there must be that, and apparently there's
so
not.
much. Yeah, the heartbreaking. There's several stories in there, but the most heartbreaking one for me was trying to take her 8-year-old daughter.
Oh yeah,
Not the writer, but somebody she talked to get a swimsuit, and she didn't fit. You know, she's in that perfect size where she doesn't fit kids plus size swimsuits, because places will go kind of larger for certain larger sizes, but not that far. And then fit becomes an issue, and so she had to get an adult bikini, but the smallest available size to try and fit her. And her daughter was sent back from the pool for having an inappropriate garment, and wasn't allowed to swim. And so they had to go.
and the daughter comes back in tears that she's been turned away.
which is horrible.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, let's magnify the problem.
Yeah, let's make this a seminal scarring experience for a child instead of just letting them swim. Like,
yeah. I guess I was really surprised by this because I figured that at this point, and like it has to be better, but apparently it's not. I mean, maybe a little, maybe incrementally, you know, like very small incremental change, which is just kind of how things go in fat world.
And what Jena Schmeiding has talked about, where she says, you know, body positivity is not necessarily within your control. If you're you can be as positive if you want, but if you're being sent home from the pool party because you couldn't find a swimsuit that the adults thought fit you appropriately,
right.
I mean, no amount of body positivity in the world is going to help you countermand that.
Yeah.
I am curious if any of our listeners have taken the initiative to learn to sew and started making their own clothing.
How far have you had to go?
I've been thinking about it lately. I mean, because I'm crafty, and I don't like the clothes that are available to me. So
Well, in the old days, that's kind of what would happen is before, you know, pret-a-porter and all the mass production of clothing. Yeah, of course, you got your clothes made, or your mother made them, or your wife made them, or someone made your clothes.
But if any of our listeners have experience with making your own clothes and have access to patterns and that sort of thing, I would be very curious to find out, like, what resources are you aware of for making your own clothes if you're a big person?
Or tailoring, which is kind of the in-between solution.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Do you feel it, people?
Take us away.
The breeze of change.
Hurtling into the sky at top speed.
Yes. It's Fat Watch. It's 2023.
It's both of those things.
We're here, people. And We're not in the past today. We're in the present.
That's
we're
right.
in the now.
We're in the now.
We're in Ask Amy.
We're in Ask Amy. This was sent in by a listener.
Yes.
So thank you very much to the listener who sent this in. This is excellent. So Ask Amy, if you don't know, is a syndicated columnist, advice columnist. So you might find her her column in a bunch of different newspapers across the United States. And somebody wrote in, concerned about her 33-year-old daughter, who has put on a substantial amount of weight. I think she says 100 pounds over the course of a couple of years. Freaking out. This mother is panicking. She literally ends the column by saying, she's yet to call a doctor. How can I help her take the first step? I'm paralyzed with fear that she will die of morbid obesity.
And see, what I love about that is that's the excuse for why I can be so shitty to someone, because really I'm just so concerned about their health.
Right.
It's always that health argument that absolves the speaker, they think, from any sort of asshole behavior.
Right. And so Amy dismantles this woman, I think, nicely, but very bluntly.
Well, but bluntly, because she doesn't have a lot of column inches, but also that it's like, this is what's going to help. You need to go get therapy.
Yeah. The first advice is like, this is clearly your problem. And by the way, she did go see a doctor. You said so yourself 6 months ago. So what else do you want her to do?
Right. And by the way, the doctor recommended bariatric surgery and she said no.
Yeah. So like, there you go. Like what? So she's just very incisively saying like, this is clearly your problem and you are causing damage. If you haven't already, you will cause damage to your relationship with your daughter.
Oh, come on. This is already a damaged relationship.
Yeah. I mean, at
clearly.
33 years old, it's impossible.
Well, because
for it not to be.
this is the mother. I mean, the mother didn't suddenly become fat-phobic or anti-fat.
Right.
When the daughter was 9, she was getting these messages from her mom.
Certainly, yeah. And the one thought process that felt like such a mom thing, but also really awful, was this sort of pity of, oh my God, what's going to happen? My daughter has a boyfriend and this great job, but she's gained so much weight and what's going to happen if she loses either of those things? She'll never get them again.
Right, right. Because once you're fat and you lose a boyfriend or a job, you can never
ever get it again.
Yeah.
It's
the only reason because the daughter gained weight, she wasn't always fat when as a teenager or kid. She was just alcoholic. Wonder why. And she talks about how she must have gotten the boy. Oh, and by the way, the husband's gained weight too. What are we going to do about that? But I digress. It's really my daughter and her morbid obesity. Like the woman is consumed with everybody's body.
She talks about BMI and what her BMI is supposed to be.
Oh, and she talks about BMI, and this is my favorite because she's so in touch with BMI. She says she's 100 pounds over her BMI.
Right. What the fuck does that mean?
BMI is a ratio, not a...
I hated reading this. Just because this is mother fear, and my mother lives in this place. All I ever get from her is this kind of stuff, and so like it sucked reading it. I'll be honest.
The response, the
response was great.
Writing in was.
I would pay money for someone to say this to my mother.
Well, and the thing is, like, a person like this who is an advice columnist who doesn't necessarily have to give out good advice. They just have to give out popular advice to keep their column and to keep readership and keep people happy. Chooses what I would say is the route, the path of most resistance, to actually say, this is a you problem. Here's some real steps you can take. And here's the steps that your daughter, according to your own letter, has taken to help herself, going to AA because she felt she was drinking too much and other things. And basically she ends on, your obsession with your daughter's weight is destined to damage her self-esteem if it hasn't done so already. That's the end.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm going to leave you with, which I think is, she's not mincing her words. Like, granted, yes, she does have to be pithy about it, but like she holds no...
Right. And what I also like about it is it's not a personal diatribe. It's not like, you monster, have you any idea what a terrible mother
She doesn't
you are?
insult her.
No, absolutely.
No. She just really calls her on her shit.
It is a perfect reading and just like putting in place. And I actually just imagine like... I don't know, Amy, Amy Ask, the writer of this column,
the writer of this Amy,
like taking a sip of wine before like saying this to mom.
I feel like the only way this could have been more direct is if she had said, bitch, get you ass to therapy.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I relate to Don's thing because my mom has had this in the past and it is, mom worry. And I think it is just mom's going to do mom stuff. And just really realizing, like, if you have this kind of thing with your own mom, dad, whatever, realizing that, like, wow, this really is a them thing. Yeah. Like, this is so them, and there's only so much you can do to appease them if they're not going to do the work themselves and look at themselves.
And Trevor, I think you have so educated your mother.
Yeah. I mean the fact that now she's like, why is this awful man on the news, referring to Bill Maher, attacking Lizzo? Like, just, I don't know. It's
no, but your mother went from literally think she had a right to negotiate your weight with you to then never discussing Trevor's weight, but everyone else's weight with Trevor.
Yeah.
Like,
no, she still does that. It's kind of weird.
Like she'll tell Trevor about, which is funny because, Trevor is so much fatter than anybody she's talking about.
Yeah.
But, they have a real weight problem.
That is,
it's a little odd.
That is a legit thing, though, with a lot of mainstream weight people, where once they accept you as a human being, your weight gets erased.
Well, and
it's kind of weird.
You're completely right, and it goes to show you that it's really the speaker's problem.
Right. It's not actually about the weight. It's about the idea that being fat is bad, but if you're good, then you're not fat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's like, so in the case of my mom, it's like, well, she knows I'm happy, so it's like not a thing. But I think it's still, she's in a place where it's like, well, this person can't be fat and happy.
Any normal person would be devastated if they looked in the mirror.
You're special. You're different.
You've graduated to being the exception. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Something.
Check it out. I feel like Ask Amy has done some other good kind of work like this in the past, but I don't know if you're someone's mom and you listen to this podcast and you have issues with their weight, look in the mirror. And I'm not calling this person's mom fat. I'm saying that you should look in the mirror and do some introspection and look at her heart and
the
why
mirror
she is
of
the
your
way
inner
she is.
mind, your psyche.
Well, it reminds me of a friend of mine who was from Europe and came to America and was looking at our grocery store. And I think this is the best use of the word fat phobia. It is the fear of getting fat.
Yeah.
And she's looking at our grocery store and seeing all the fat-free products that we have 27 kinds of yogurt and 18 of those are fat-free versions or low-fat versions or 1% or 1.5%.
Skim milk.
And my friend was just struck by the amount of product development that was devoted to fear of being fat. And it goes into something else I think we're going to discuss is like the terminology of guilt-free potato chips.
No, that's last week.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting behind yourself.
Getting behind my head. Getting behind my head.
In case you hadn't figured this out, we are recording the 2 episodes, this one and the previous, out of order. So there's a lot of mental gymnastics we're doing to try and get this right.
Tomorrow will be yesterday.
Tomorrow will be 100 years from now.
Thank you, Ask Amy, for being an ally.
Yes. Thank you. It's good advice. Actually good advice. All right. Moving on to our main subject.
Speaking of moving on, we got a lot of stuff on the move. We got a lot of stuff happening, and we thought we would maybe talk about navigating these things.
Yeah. So in the case of me and Michael, like finding a place that is accommodating for us to like live in. Dan and Trevor going on the cruise or other kinds of travel stories, potentially just bringing some anecdotes to the table. Anecdotes. There we go.
So prepping for travel in the coming year.
Yeah.
You guys, like your cruise has already been mentioned, and I can already see Dan is actually vibrating slightly on the couch right now. I'm not sure if you guys can tell. He is very, very excited for the cruise.
I just got to pee.
But you're going to get to pee on a cruise soon. How exciting will that be?
I'll get to pee
and you can do it anywhere.
I'll get to pee in an ocean.
So anyway, to get to it, I can start us off. When Michael and I were looking for places, I mean, there's a number of factors that, when you can live somewhere that's affordable, you get a lot more options. And so the first one right off the bat, which I'm sure Trevor and Don will relate to, a 1-bedroom house. Or, sorry, not 1 bedroom, 1 floor, first floor house.
There's no stairs.
There's no stairs. Currently, I live up 15 stairs on the second floor.
It is.
Oh, they are
There's
treacherous stairs.
something
They
about
are not
those
good stairs. They're like slippery.
They are polished concrete
Yeah.
stairs with rounded
And they've
nuts
never been
and
power
edges.
washed. And so they just have this layer of grease on them.
Oh man.
I have been so terrified to slip down those stairs myself.
Well, and they're really, the tread is really narrow. So like
Yeah.
your whole foot doesn't fit on the stair
And they're,
anyway.
yeah, they're tall, narrow stairs, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're all the way. So being able to have a space that's like a single floor, and all of your space is just easily walkable. There is one step in that entire house, which is from the
In the new
garage.
place.
In the new place that we found. One step in the entire place. It's like a half a step from the garage.
So you're getting a ramp
into the kitchen. Yeah. No, I made the joke this morning. I was like, well, we can take care of that. Well, and we're gonna do one of those zigzag
6-foot
ramps.
ramp.
Yeah, like it goes back and forth, so you have switchbacks.
because it is a 6-inch rise. Yeah.
Exactly. You got to be careful with those gradations.
Kind of picturing you taking like American Ninja style.
Which is awesome because I can since living in LA, Michael's lived here for 8 months, somewhere around there, 8 or 9 months. The degree of freedom that I think he has lost in living here compared to what he's used to is hard to overstate. And I am excited at his excitement for living in a space in a place that is actually accommodating.
Fat-friendly.
That, going up and down the stairs is not going to be a barrier to like just popping out and going on a drive, for instance, if he just wants to get out and get some fresh air. Having a neighborhood that's like really walkable. Sidewalks in LA, FYI.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Hit and miss. Yeah.
Mostly miss. It depends on what neighborhood you're in, I suppose, but mostly it's...
The place you used to live with your sister, like the sidewalk
God.
there was... It was like an obstacle
so many,
course.
yeah.
Okay. With what for the listener, there are all these
Concrete.
trees. Well, they had sidewalks, but the tree roots, because they usually plant these really fast growing trees with highly invasive roots,
Yeah.
think ficus, and it will lift the sidewalk sometimes 2 feet. Like
Yeah.
you'll just have this 2-foot peak in the middle of your sidewalk. Like
Yeah.
you have to now go around or
insane.
traverse or
I'm shocked that I didn't sprain my ankle walking around on those sidewalks.
Yeah.
And that's common, I would say. See, here's the big one, though. The house that we found had one previous owner. It was an elderly couple. And they, I believe, probably both died. And the house
But
was
not from
bought-
stairs.
Not from stairs, not from, presumably. I think one or both of them was in a wheelchair. And the house was built for them, seemingly, because there are certain accommodations in there that are fantastic. For instance, this is a little weird, but also kind of cool. There's no doorway from the master bedroom into the master bathroom.
Smart.
So you can just roll right in if you're in a wheelchair. Michael's not in a wheelchair, but this is the size of that bathroom is literally the size of my current master bedroom.
Wow.
In my current apartment. Like, holy shit. It's a walk-in / roll-in shower with a bench built into it.
Yeah, they remodeled for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And handbars on everything.
Railings. Yeah.
In the shower, by the toilet, and one of those it's built into the shower where it has one of those lower lower like shower heads that you can grab. So there's the overhead one, like the rain one, but then there's the handle one, like at waist height that you could just grab, and it's right there.
Much like we remodeled our bathroom.
Yeah. It's amenities. Like these are the things that feel like game changers when you have them in your home and not just like a nice hotel.
Well, and it's one thing, because we own this place so we can make changes to it. If you're in a rental, I mean, you try negotiating with your landlord, you want to rebuild the bathroom.
Yeah, it's unlikely.
Even if you have the resources to do that, like you're not going to get permission.
Yeah, not going to happen.
I'm excited to hear about the
The 6-inch ramp.
the inauguration of the shower and everything. I will ask: is it a built-in shower? Or is it like a drop-down thing, or the bench?
No, it's built in. It is
Okay.
Like
it is
our bathroom,
it is like a concrete
It's a ledge.
with like tile
Perfect.
on top of it.
Yeah.
Like
Perfect.
And it's wide, it's deep, like there's ass space on that bench.
There's space for activities.
Yes.
Oh, careful. It's slippery. It's very slippery and cold.
Well, there's handbars. That's what the.
That's what the handbars are
It
for.
sounds so good in principle,
do
and
you
then
think
in
that- how do you
practice
think that-
never seems to work out.
It reminds me of that joke, like if someone wants to
We'll
cover
make it
you in
work out.
honey and lick it off, they've never done that.
Yeah.
How do you think the old people died?
Having the time of their lives.
Having the time of their lives on the Oh, dear.
I understand the bench, but what's the trapeze for?
Oh, there's
Dismount.
Anyway,
I
don't know. I'm excited for the cruise. And I also was then having I talked about last night having just like random travel stress dreams all night that were just like, I don't know. I went to France and I'm like, oh my God, I have to fly back from France.
No, we live here now.
But like having, I don't know, I have all these plans. I talked about, I have my full folding grabber a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
I have
welcome.
my scooter on the cruise, and like I'm going to be able to I've been worried about like how my body's going to do with traveling, just because that's been a thing with like my back. Just the past couple months, it's been really irritated, and I was like, absolute worst case scenario. I'm on a cruise. I have a scooter, and I can just see I'm going to be with a lot of wonderful people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like even worst case scenario, and we booked some excursions, but like if I can't do that, I can take the scooter out in the port. Like we're gonna.
Yeah, there's plenty of real estate on board the ship.
Yeah.
No, but even like at the port, like I can just take it off,
roll off onto the port,
and roll down the pier,
roll around, get some fresh air. And I don't know if this helps your back or not. I know it does for me. I recently started remembering to bring my sort of muscle/massage gun thing with me on travel. So like recently, Michael and I went, we went back to Tennessee to visit his family for Christmas, brought that with me. And then like in the hotel room, you have, that flight sucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it hurts me, it certainly hurts him. And so you have like something to kind of at least take care of some of those knots that might show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
I would recommend it. I don't know if I think they have lithium ion batteries in them. So if you put them in your check bag, maybe lie about that, or don't. Maybe put it in your carry-on if you can.
Oh, I'm not gonna put that in my carry-on.
I wouldn't either. I didn't. But technically, I think
I'm
that's
imagining
not
if it just like turns on.
it creates a hole in your bag.
I forget if you're not allowed to fly with a lithium-ion battery in cabin or in storage.
No, in your checked bag.
You're checked. All right.
Because if they catch fire, they are very, very difficult to put out, and you can't access the cabin where the checked bags are. So there's a huge danger risk. If they catch fire in the people cabin, they can go put that out.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a risk.
So
for
you have to
fire
put
hazard.
it in. Okay.
You have to put it in your carry-on.
To be fair, you could just carry the battery in your carry-on because the battery does detach.
Yeah, if the battery comes out. Yeah. Anyway, I recommend it for travel. If you have some space, in consideration.
I was also thinking about on the cruise at the spa. I was confused about there's all these like temperature rooms and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But also as part of that, they
rooms?
have. I've been trying to get more information about it. This will be a my little.
I've been on a couple Royal Caribbean cruises in the spas. I might be able to answer your questions.
Well, so I know they have the heated ceramic benches, which I was like, ooh, that would probably be really nice.
Those are very good. Put a towel on them because they get very hot. It's
want it to be
literally
really hot.
a reclining bench that's curved slightly. They're made out of like molded concrete. Then they have tiles on top and they heat. So you can lie down and just get this sort of heat experience all across your body. They do get very hot, and there's no temperature control on the ones that I was on. So put a towel down. You can either double fold it or single fold it.
Okay.
But they have like 1,000 towels. Like that's not a problem. Yeah.
And just imagine going on it.
I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the spa because I've never really
Trevor loves
invested
spas,
in
and
spas,
he loves
but-
any shower that's 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah. I think you'll be happy.
Well, and I'm pretty sure I was double checking. I have my thing that I got for Vegas, my detachable shower head that I will swap out with.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to use that on the ship, which I'm very excited about.
Well, we're going to have an accessible room anyway, so they'll have something.
No, I know, but I like that shower,
That one in particular.
That, no, because it's like a wand. It doesn't have a big daisy head.
Yeah.
So that you can really get in all the nooks and crannies.
Also, as an upcharge, they also have private jacuzzi rooms. So if you want to just like have a jacuzzi experience and you don't necessarily want to be out on the deck of the ship, you can, if you're willing to pay the upcharge, you can get those.
I
too.
saw that. I couldn't really tell how big they were because it's like it's
big.
for couples, and I'm like, I feel like I will just.
Trevor's a couple of something.
The
yeah.
two of you would fit easily. It's
Okay.
it's like what you would imagine at somebody's house, like if they put a jacuzzi in their deck or something. It's the
Okay.
same size as that. Yeah, they're not tiny. And I believe at least the one that I was in, there's a room around it as well. And I think there might be stairs or there might be a ramp.
Are they
I can't remember.
private?
Yeah. They have public jacuzzis also.
Oh, yeah.
Hot tubs.
So they're private jacuzzis for couples?
In your room.
Oh, in your room.
No.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh,
these are,
in the spa. At the spa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically you're going to
That's what's
soak in other
confusing me.
people's sex juice?
They clean them.
I hope they cycle out the water.
Well, every cruise, they clean them, yeah.
Yeah. And usually cruises are a week or two.
It's called a cruise,
It's never more than a week's worth of soup.
Plus, even a week's worth of soup in those rooms is not going to be as bad as Bigger Vegas.
Valid.
After like day 4 of Bigger Vegas, when it's like this past Bigger Vegas, the day 4 was normally like day 7.
To be fair, that's not cum, that's suntan oil.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
I mean, it's both.
Dan, having been there and having been to a lot of public pools where everybody was wearing sunscreen also, I don't believe you.
But I don't know. I do say that a lot of it is sunscreen, because if you watch the chubs, like, okay, I got to spray myself
God, they use
with
that
my
awful
lotion,
spray lotion.
and then they immediately get in.
Immediately get
you
in the
have to
pool.
let it settle in.
I mean, they may as well just be dumping the suntan oil in the water.
That is
There
true.
is
so
during the daytime there is this like
Oil slick.
multicolored grease, like where it looks like if someone dropped a match, it would just go up.
I have a couple small, short, sweet anecdotes we can wrap up on.
Oh yes.
So I polled the audience, meaning I asked Michael for a couple of his travel stories. And so he's traveled to Europe a couple times. I think he's been to a handful of different countries, including Spain, the UK. And some of his stories were, for instance, his recommendation for an airline, granted, I think this was about 10 years ago. But he said that British Airways had it's not a policy, according to him, but when he showed up for his flight, the flight wasn't sold out completely. And so the staff of British Airways made a point to consolidate empty seats in his row so that he didn't have to deal with that whole, you're...
How many seats?
Yeah, you're in a seat next to a bunch of people. If there were empty seats in the plane, they just consolidated them. And he said they did that on 2 different occasions, not just a one random occurrence. So that was, I don't know, kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. I think the thing that always makes me nervous about that is you are completely at the mercy of who is working the flight that day.
And I wouldn't plan for that.
No, you can't. You
but
can't. And
there's
that's-
an element of surprise to it, I guess.
Well, yeah, because if you didn't plan for it.
British Airways. on the flip side,
Just a quick anecdote about that. The
Yeah.
best experience I ever had that with a plane was going up to, I always wait till I get to the gate. You talk to the attendant, say can you get me into a seat where I don't have someone next to me.
Mm-hmm.
The one time I went up there and the attendant was another big person. She just looked at me and went oh, I got you, sweetie. It's the least talking, least explanation, the easiest.
yeah.
Please, airlines, employ more fat people for your gate attendants.
I will say also, in that vein, having done that a few times with Michael for Southwest Airlines, which actually has a policy about giving you an extra seat for free. Every employee that we've interacted with at the gate, because he'll book it online, but then he'll go up to make sure.
Well, you have to. You
Yeah.
have to check in early.
Yeah, they've been so easygoing about it.
Oh, yeah, because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's
there's an education there. You don't have to, unless they're a new employee, in which case it's come up once or twice.
Well, but it's like you said, it's their policy. They have a passenger of size policy.
yeah, maybe I'll end on this one because this is funny. It's funny and sad and also funny. He and his friend, who is also a very fat man and tall, they did a whole trip, and one of the places they stopped was Barcelona, Spain. And they were staying, they were college kids at the time, and they were staying at hostels. This was a hostel in Barcelona, Spain.
Okay.
And the elevator to get up to the top is this old, ancient, antique glass elevator. And so they both get in, and it was spacious, apparently. It wasn't some tiny little thing. It goes up about 10 feet and then goes and then comes down a couple feet and then stops.
Yeah.
And they got stuck on this elevator for 3 hours because apparently it's so old that there's only one mechanic in Barcelona who knows how to service it, and this was a holiday.
Yeah.
So, and it's glass. And so every time somebody comes in to take the elevator up to their room,
They see
nothing. And then they look up and they see two fat guys sitting on the floor of the elevator watching Game of Thrones. Like, what's going on? Well, we don't know. However, the good ending to the story is the hostel was able to bribe the mechanic to come show up on a holiday.
It's Spain, yeah.
He showed up, fixed it in an instant, and then the hostel, he was worried that they were going to be like, oh, never did I, to get mad at him or whatever. And apparently they were very apologetic.
Oh, sweet.
And they gave him free drink passes and then gently recommended that maybe only one of them take the elevator at a time.
Yeah, because at that point, what are you going to say? Take the stairs? No, that's why we have to
Yeah. Well, it's a very special episode today because we have a tip.
Yes, we do.
We do. We don't always have tips, but when we do, we have them.
So this week, this is your final chance to purchase a Fat Folks Tarot deck.
What?
So
Fat Folks Tarot deck.
Yes.
Tarot.
Fat Folks Tarot.
I thought this is some dinosaur. Fat Folks Tarot deck.
No. I've shared, so the other time they were selling the decks, I shared, I think mostly on Twitter, on the Twitter account.
Fat Folks Sedan. Okay. Yes. I got it out of my system. Go.
But they are doing a final printing of the deck through Kickstarter. They've already reached their goal. So if you give money now, you know it's going to happen.
Awesome.
They're starting to hit their stretch goals, which include, so they hit their $30,000 goal of foil card backs.
Oh, hell yeah.
So they'll be extra shiny. And it's a full tarot deck. It has, the whole point was to do a deck of tarot cards featuring art with fat people, but also it's all fat people, BIPOC, disabled, LGBTQ plus.
Oh, awesome.
All of the artists who did it are fat.
Hell yeah.
There's 77 artists who did the art for the different cards.
Oh, gamer friends, by the way, you can use a tarot deck as a deck of many things if you play Dungeons and Dragons. So maybe use this. That would be a cool way to sub it in.
Yeah. You have until January 31st at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time to get one. So get in.
Do we know the price? On
that. There's different tiers.
So it's a Kickstarter, so you can probably support, but whatever the minimum amount.
The minimum amount to get a deck is $50. You get a deck with a little guidebook.
Olive oil.
Yeah. You can get the deck and a guidebook, and then also prints of your favorite card. Get little velvet book.
Nice.
All sorts of different stuff. Check it out. The link will be in the episode description.
Hell yeah. All right, Don, take us home. And by home, I mean halfway done for our day of recording.
Well, to celebrate, since we are talking about travel tips today, and since we are getting ready for Michael's great new journey, I thought we would engage in some voyages in mythological journeys of note in the past. So
of which I am making one more.
Yeah.
Today's theme is mythological journeys. So,
all right.
Orpheus, the famous musician of Greek mythology, is probably best known for going into the afterlife to rescue his wife after she dies and leading her almost all the way out to the exit before tragedy strikes. That's not the only journey he's famous for, though. What other famous journey is Orpheus famous for participating in?
Finding Neo.
1. He accompanied Hercules and helped him tame a giant raging lion using his music. 2. He accompanied Jason to find the Golden Fleece and helped him pass the sirens. 3. He was at the fall of Troy, where his song gave Odysseus the idea for the Trojan horse. Or 4. He legendarily ran 25 miles to report the defeat of Persia, making him the symbolic founder of the marathon.
I'm going to say Golden Fleece.
I think
he accompanied Hercules and played music to help sedate the lion.
Figure everyone here are RPG or classic mythology nerds. I figured we could.
It's been a while.
I only know
my
know
memory's
the
fading.
Orpheus and Eurydice. I don't think he was an Argonaut. I'm going to go with the lion taming.
Okay, lion taming.
Same.
Lion taming.
Golden Fleece.
Golden Fleece. And the correct answer is, in fact, the Golden Fleece.
Damn.
Oh, Trevor.
When will we learn, Michael?
Orpheus managed
Pulling
to
out ahead.
out-sing the sirens and just let everybody drift on by.
I thought I thought there was wax earplugs involved.
There were different heroes crossed the sirens in different ways.
I see.
This is
Because one of them was he wanted, I forget who this was, but he wanted to listen to them, so that he told his crew to tie him to the ship.
Yes.
So he could
someone
hear.
has not kept up on the Greek cinematic universe.
Sorry.
All right.
Let me go watch Wrath of the Titans real quick.
In ancient Egypt, the sun god Ra was believed to ride a giant boat across the sky every day. By night, he piloted the boat through the underworld, where each night the boat would be attacked by Apophis, the spirit of evil, who would try and destroy Ra and end the circle of life. Each night, though, Ra's boat was defended by another god.
Oh.
Which god was it? 1. Nut, Nut, the goddess of the night sky, who would shield the barge with her star-covered back. 2. Set, the god of war and storms, cruelty and chaos. 3. Isis, wife of the dead god Osiris, who would go to the underworld each night to catch a glimpse of her husband. Or 4. Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess of motherhood and the rage of the sun.
I'm going with Newt.
I'm Newt also.
We got 2 Newts. Wow. Okay.
I'm going to go with Isis.
Ooh, we are going female heavy this time around. Okay.
Oh, wait, Trevor, you didn't want to Newt up?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow. Well, the surprising answer to this one is actually Set.
Okay.
The god of war, storms, cruelty, and chaos. He's actually in modern
Yeah.
storytelling. He's the god of evil in most modern versions. But-
Sometimes written as Seth. Yeah.
yeah, but what I think is so interesting about this one is it shows that like Christianity is 2,000 years old. Like the Egyptian mythology we're talking about spanned over 5,000 years of time.
yes.
And the way people saw these gods over 5,000 years changed enormously.
Mostly due to the Christians.
Okay. Our final journey for the day. The journey of Odysseus to get home after the Trojan War, covered in Homer's epic The Odyssey, is probably one of the most famous epics in Western literature. During his 10-year journey to get home, he meets pretty much a who's who of gods, heroes, and monsters from Greek mythology. Which of the following is not someone Odysseus meets on his voyage home?
Wow.
Oh, God.
All right. Circe, witch and arch nemesis of Wonder Woman. Scylla and Charybdis, the aquatic rock and a hard place duo of Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Zeus, king of the gods and chromic womanizer. Or 4, the Cyclops, professional shepherd.
I like that. I'm going to say Zeus.
I was thinking Zeus also.
I also think Zeus.
It's just too obvious.
Well, I have failed in my construction then, because yes, the answer is in fact Zeus.
Yay. Dan, you got one.
I got one.
I got 2.
You call that the pity bit.
I get 2.
Thank you very much.
Trevor won, as usual.
So, Trevor, if one of our listeners met Odysseus on his 10-year journey home, where could they go to tell us about that?
Well, we're on Instagram and Twitter as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook at the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BigFatGayPod. See the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgaypod.com. 5 stars everywhere also. I don't know.
Yeah. We got our 90th rating on Apple Podcasts, so thank you. We are on a hot streak. We got some good ratings on there, so thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. It feels good. Also, thank you for writing in. We will have already read a listener write in after this, but before this episode releases.
You make my brain hurt.
I make my brain hurt.
Maybe your brain hurts and we got more to do, so watch out.
Watch out, yeah. E-break. Everybody, run to the bathrooms. Go.
Bring your weasels.